Hey everybody, I just wanted to make a really quick video to sort of explain myself a little why I haven't actually been updating comics in the past few weeks and or months really, if you think about it. It's mostly down to a bit of good news that I wanted to share with you guys for a while, but I've waited until it was cool to do so I didn't step on anyone's toes in the process. And it's down to very good news. You might remember last year I was talking about a manga competition I entered that actually succeeded and got printed with a local publisher here in Norway. And that was a once-off special. That was for a free edition of what this is, Rock On. That was Volume Zero. That was released with Outland Forlag, and they are the publishing wing of a chain of comic book shops here in Norway. Really great places. I could go on about those guys, and I probably will in a future video. But they are all over Norway, and they released this. It included work by myself, surprisingly. This includes much better mangas than anything I could come up with. But I'm in there too for reasons I can't understand, and they liked it, the publishers, and had encouraged me to submit future work to future editions of the Rock On anthology series, which they're hoping to do several times throughout the year. And I'd considered, and I've mentioned this particular comic before, but I'd considered submitting one work I'd been playing with for years, which was a manga called Last Day Stand Tall. And for those who haven't read this before, Last Day is a series idea I had about a pair of kids who go into a summer camp in space right before the end of the world. And the story follows how they cope with that and various other things related to it. It's sort of my take on a more family-friendly / child-friendly series, because what I usually make tends to be a little more suitable for older teens at the youngest, if not adult audiences. And this is my shot at that. There's a lot more into that, which I won't go into a lot of detail at the moment, because I only have a few minutes to make this video, so I'm trying to be efficient as possible. You may have noticed, if you're following me on social media at all, you may notice I've been putting out screenshots like this. This is the actual inked drawing of the characters in question. That text will imply a little bit about the inspiration for this. Is actually, if you've ever heard Europe's The Final Countdown, that has been sort of the inspiration for this kind of story, and I've been wanting to do something based on that for years, so this is that. The good news, and the reason why I haven't been updating too much, is because I succeeded in getting that manga approved by the publisher. So it's going to be in the next run of Rock On manga anthology from Outland Forlag. But what is a little weird for me is that I was actually contracted and paid to do it, which technically, if you're going for the dictionary definition of this, makes me a professional cartoonist at the moment, which is really weird after 10 years of amateur web cartooning. And so that's why it was so much of a focus to get this manga out. Unfortunately, I had to sacrifice time for back office and bat in the art while I was doing that. It's probably some of the most intense production time I've ever had while doing this, because I had planned this out fairly well before Christmas. But then during Christmas, the kitchen sort of exploded and had to be rebuilt in like a handful of days before Christmas in order to save Christmas. So it was kind of like that. That was time I was actually planning to use on the manga, and the result was I had to use the guts of less than 4 or 5 weeks to make a full 20-page manga, penciled, inked, rendered, drawn, ready before a deadline. I got there just about. The publisher is actually really, really cool. They really helped me a lot through the process, and I got there and they accepted it, and it's going to be published. And this could actually be the first of many chapters of Last Day. I'm waiting to see when the next one is due to be out, or when the next one needs submissions in, um, because that can disrupt production of the webcomics. So I'm going to have to reconsider how I do webcomics in future. Um, Rock On might have 2 editions a year, which means I'll be making about 40 pages. It could mean that Back Office and Bat in the Art become seasonal comics. What I'm thinking of doing is making Bat in the Art continue to be weekly, while Last Day takes the place of Back Office. And then when I'm not making Last Day comics, I can switch back over to Back Office, because Back Office is not that far away from conclusion. After I finish the current chapter, we only have 2 stories left. One is really a sort of character development filler, and the last one is the finale. It's the last bit of Back Office. And then I won't be making any more Back Office, at least not as the continuing webcomic. I might do specials. But that one's nearly over. And there's so much more Bat in the Art, I don't want to stop that for too long. We also have an edition, the usual Coffee Party, that will come up every year as usual. So that, in addition to Last Day, means that the update schedule, as you've probably experienced through 2020, along with all the other chaos, is going to be erratic again this year, I'm afraid. But I really wanted to keep you guys in the loop, just so you know that the lack of updates isn't down to anything bad, because that's when webtoon comics get as unstable as mine have been, it's usually a sign that the webcomic is about to die, because the author is not interested anymore, or simply cannot produce the comic. And I've seen this over the last, so shockingly enough, the last 10 years I've been making webcomics. I've seen really good artists come and go over the years. And I've always promised myself that I would complete what I started, and I will. But I wanted to make sure that you all knew the reason that I've stopped is due to good reasons, not due to me burning out as an artist. I just, there are only so many hours of the day you can do as a part-timer like myself, and it's, I'm both delighted to be doing this as a sort of professional way, with an actual bricks and mortar publisher. I also feel guilty about not doing the webcomics, because you guys have stuck with me all these years, and it's what's made this whole process so much fun, is having readers like you guys. And that's why I want to keep doing it, and I want to keep this sense of we have this little reader community going on, and I'd like to keep it going for as long as humanly possible. And I want to, when the time comes, I want to figure out a way to share Rock On with you guys too. So I think most part I'll invite you to buy it from Outland. Please do too as well, because Outland are a really great group of people there. Excuse me. I'll explain a little bit about Outland, just so you know. And this, I don't know whether this will have them rolling their eyes if they watch this video, or if they like what I say, but I am a big fan of the Outland shops, because when I first moved to Norway as a student, I was shocked to discover an Outland shop here in Oslo, and I was to find this. This is the kind of place where you can buy fantasy books, manga, comics. They also usually have huge areas for merchandise, tabletop gaming, so you're thinking Warhammer here, and also card games, and all manner of rare Lego, and all that kind of like collectible toys and things like that. Anything that could satisfy your particular fandom or obsession is probably in an Outland shop. And what's more is that not just one shop, because back in Ireland I had like one place called Forbidden Planet where I'd go, and that was just comics really. They hadn't enough room for anything else. I don't know if they're bigger these days, but back then they were pretty small. In Oslo they had 2 Outlands, and they have at least one Outland in all of the major towns and cities across Norway. And when I actually started working with Outland Forlag the past few months, I've been really impressed with how incredibly professional they've been with their approach to this new project, and also how they've been helping me edit the Last Day comics. This what I should say is I have mentioned this before. Well, I'll mention again. I did attend a manga production course with Now a few years ago, and when I went into that course with her, excuse me, sorry. I should edit this video, but I'm not going to. What I experienced with her was that I pitched a manga to her as part of the course, and what she would do is, with each pitch, she would find things I needed to correct and throw the whole thing back at me so I could redraw it. And I ended up doing this 3 or 4 times, and at the end, because this was extremely stressful, this was like really intense planning of a manga. Now turned to me and said, "Listen, this is what you experience as a rookie mangaka when you talk with a Japanese publisher." And so she'd given me sort of the rookie mangaka experience as part of her course. And when I started talking with Outland Forlag, and I was getting, it was the editor's name was Nora. When she was editing or giving me feedback and helping me edit my page plans, I got that very same feeling. It felt just like the course. It just felt just like what Now was doing. And that was a really good sign in my books, because this felt like these guys really know what they're doing. These guys really know what they like. And they really helped me make a much better chapter of Last Day than I think I would have done without feedback. And I'm really appreciative for that. And I'm looking forward, because if I keep making these and if I keep getting good feedback like this, it could be something really, really good over time. Like Last Day, I have a fairly broad story arc planned out, multiple in fact, and it helps a lot if I have active feedback like that to try and make it as good as I can. And that's what we're going to be doing in future. So basically, just to sum up a little bit, because I don't want to go on for too long, my comic year will essentially consist of the 2 webcomics as usual, for as long as I can, Last Day, and Coffee Party. So it's going to be a bit chaotic, it's going to be a bit full, and I'm afraid it's going to be a little unstable when it comes to updates. The next updates will come just after Easter. I have drawn at least 3 pages of each to right up to a buffer point. I'm going to continue to try and get the current chapters of Back Office and Barry Art finished before things kick off again, because I know they will. And I hope, and I'm sorry again for the delays, I hope we can manage this a little better so that you won't be wondering too much about when comics are coming. And as soon as I know more about Rock On, I will try to give out links, so if hopefully you can actually order the anthology for yourself if you really want it. And well, if you're in Norway too, when hopefully things return to normal, you may be able to pick up a coffee in person. Sorry again. So before my voice dies, I'll wrap up here, and hope to look forward to you guys coming back to the comics, and also future projects. So all the best. We'll talk again soon.